Hi, my name is Michaela Henderson, and I was born on April 21st, 2000. Coincidentally, I was born on the same day as Queen Elizabeth II, just in a different year. Queen Elizabeth II was born on April 21st of 1926 at 2:40 a.m. in London. That makes her 92 years old. Something important that you should know about Queen Elizabeth is that she is Great Britain's queen, and she's also the longest reigning monarchy in British history. In 2017, she celebrated her 65th year on the throne. Queen Elizabeth's parents' names were King George VI, and her mother's name was Elizabeth Angela Margaret Bowes-Lyon. They were the Dutch and the Duchess of York. Queen Elizabeth's full name was Elizabeth Alexandria Mary, but they called her Lilibet. Queen Elizabeth had a younger sister, and her name was Margaret, and she was frowned upon because she had many affairs. Throughout their childhood, they had a nanny that took care of them, fed them, taught them, did basically everything for them, and was basically their mother. And when Queen Elizabeth was born, she was said to be third in line to receive the throne. She was behind her uncle Edward and her father. When Queen Elizabeth was 8 years old, she met her future husband at a wedding. His name is Prince Philip, Duke of Edinburgh, and they got married in November of 1947. And in 1952, Queen Elizabeth became the Queen of Great Britain. In 1953, they celebrated her coronation, which is where they give her the crown and they congratulate her on being queen, and it was the first time that it was ever broadcasted on television, and so millions of people got to see it. Queen Elizabeth and Prince Philip had 4 children. Their names were Charles, Anne, Andrew, and Edward, and they had a nanny that took care of them as well, so they didn't have to travel all around the world like Queen Elizabeth, and that's kind of how Queen Elizabeth grew up, and so that's basically all she knew. The oldest child's name is Prince Charles, and he married Diana Spencer. They had 2 children together, Prince William and Prince Harry, and in 1997, Princess Diana passed away from a car crash. And throughout their marriage, Prince Charles had many affairs and cheated on her, and so shortly after her death, he remarried to a lady named Camilla. The second child's name was Princess Anne, and she married Captain Mark Phillips, and they had 2 children together as well. Their names were Zara and Peter. And the third child's name was Prince Andrew, and he married Sarah Ferguson, and they had 2 children as well. And their names were Beatrice and Eugene, and shortly after they had their children, they got a divorce, and it caused a big uproar because that's just not something that the royal family did. The fourth child's name was Prince Edward, and he married Sophie, the Countess of Wessex, and they had 2 children together named Louise and James. And Prince Edward was the only one of Queen Elizabeth's children that did not end up getting a divorce. Prince Charles' oldest son, William, married Princess Kate, and they're said to be the next king and queen of Great Britain. And some things to know about Queen Elizabeth is that in 2002, she celebrated her 50th year on the throne, and that was also the same year that her mother and her sister both passed away. Queen Elizabeth has a glass of champagne every night before she goes to bed. Her favorite animal is a corgi, and she's had 30 of them throughout her reign. She celebrates her birthday in June, even though her birthday is in April, but the reason why is because in April it's very muggy and rainy, and so she doesn't want to celebrate it in April. She'd rather wait and celebrate it in June when it's nice and sunny. She was in the military in World War II. She was a mechanic. She also, because she was queen, she had many death threats. And one of the death threats that she received was in 1981, and she was in a military parade for her birthday. And a man in the crowd shot a gun at Queen Elizabeth, and it was filled with blanks, so it didn't hurt her or anything like that. But that's one thing that comes with being queen, is you get many death threats and many things said about you that aren't true. But I just think that it's a great honor that I share a birthday with a queen, and it's something that I didn't know until I did this project, and it's just really fascinating to me that I have a birthday with Queen Elizabeth II.